Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into another episode of Beyond the Finish Line. I'm Bradley Hinton. I'm the host, talking about sports, anything, everything, and pretty much anything in between. Um, Before we get started, if you found your way here, hit that like button, subscribe, share. I would greatly appreciate it. And let's talk about some terrible Thursday takes. It's The college football world is chaos right now. Don't even think that the committee knows. I don't know what they're doing, to be honest with you. But you have a terrible take, a hot take, give me a call on the Couch Coach line, 404-590-3224. Anytime touchdown today. It's the Lions Cowboys. A long shot probably is Gibbs for 2, honestly. But with how beat up the Lions secondary is, I mean, probably a GP, George Pickens, anytime touchdown, book it. Run those together. It's almost going to be like a playoff game. Lions lose. I appreciate that. Welcome in. Give me a follow. Trying to get to 100. I'd appreciate that, Mr. John. And it's one of those things where if the Lions lose, they're probably done. I mean, you would think with how their division is, if the Lions lose today, I don't think they're recovering from that. But they might. And so let's talk about the terrible take Thursday. Conference championships. Conference championships are ridiculous now. Now, they still mean something. You are still the SEC champ or the Big Ten champ or the ACC champ. You are still the champ. But you have these SEC teams sitting at home watching this weekend while they go out there and go head-to-head in a very physical game. Alabama and Georgia, usually that's just what it is. And so they're going out there risking an injury, and technically the teams that are not playing this weekend are getting a first-round bye, which is wild. I mean, at the end of the day, Oregon sitting at home. Oregon may get a bye with some losses and some extra help. They may get a bye this weekend and a bye in the first round if they end up with the top 4 seed. Tell me how that makes sense. Something has to be done, because if Texas Tech loses to BYU, they're both in, but I don't think they're in the top 4. They might be. They may give the Big 12 one of the championship spots. I don't think so, though. And so at that point, we have possibly 3 Big Ten teams in the top 4 of the playoffs, and one of them got a bye this weekend. And so there's some chaos, but there's some things that need to happen because there's got to be something done for many things. There's a few things out there that make a lot of sense. Like when you talk about a play-in game or the from, all 6 teams that make it to the championships they're in are all that's where it's got to be figured out because I don't think that, like, if Alabama was not in this game this weekend, say that they wouldn't be risking losing and getting out of the playoffs, right? And so when you think about that part of it, it's like, why should Alabama be penalized if they lose this weekend when you have 2 SEC teams sitting at home not playing? I don't think that makes sense. I'm not on the committee. I'm not on the board. I don't make the rules. I just think that there's some adjustments that need to be attacked there. You can't have teams sitting at home getting a bye when you have the SEC or the Big Ten teams going head to head in a. I mean, it's going to be physical. The best 2 teams. So I think that that's a terrific take, if you will. We got to fix the college playoff. We have to fix the college playoff. If we don't fix the college playoff with the conference championship games, we are literally risking teams not wanting to play in their conference championship. The thing is the commissioners of these conferences are never going to do away with those games. There's too much money involved in the SEC championship game in Atlanta this weekend. There's too much money involved in the Big Ten championship in Indianapolis this weekend. And that's for the venue, the people around it, the schools that make it, the Big Ten in general. So they're not taking the conference championship games away. They're just not. So we have to figure out, I mean, if Texas Tech or BYU, like if BYU was, it just makes it so weird if a team goes out and loses a star player on offense, defense, their kicker, while you have some good teams. I mean, Ole Miss, Oregon. Let's see. Bada boom, bada boom. Let's go to some really good teams that are sitting at home this weekend getting a bye. And we can call it what we want. They're not in the conference championship or whatever you want to say there. Bruh. They are getting a bye. Oklahoma, A&M, Ole Miss, Oregon, Notre Dame. I mean, Notre Dame is Notre Dame, and they won't join a conference because they won't join a conference. That's what are you going to do there? That being so national, it's going to be tough. The ACC should stop scheduling a lot of the games. Make them join a conference. They don't want to. But then, even if they join conference, we have to figure out conference championship weekend. Because, like, if you... Virginia and Duke, say Virginia goes out there and they beat Duke convincingly, but they lose one of their star offensive players while they are at, there's other teams at home that are not risking it. I get like, but don't like Oregon go to Yeah, and that's it right there. And so like Oregon, now some people say that you could get rusty this far, but Oregon's last game last weekend, right? The thing is if Texas Tech were to lose to BYU, I think they're both in. Both Big 12 teams end up getting in. That's probably bumping Notre Dame out, I would assume. I'm, again, not in that room. But then Oregon's going to move up into one of those top 4 seeds. So now they had a bye this weekend. I appreciate that follow. And then they have a bye all the way until December 31st is when I think they'll play. They can get completely healthy. While Indiana, Ohio State went and banged it out, it's going to be tough for either one of them to fall out of the top 4. But if Georgia or Texas Tech lose this weekend, and I'm a Georgia fan, but there's a real chance that it happens. Oregon moves up, or who it makes it very weird. So if, Morton goes out, I know he was hurt earlier in the year. If he goes out and re-injures himself, but it's not like he's done, but he's not 100%, and BYU wins, they still make it. I appreciate the follow, troll. Welcome in. Love trolls. Appreciate that. Trying to get to that 100 mark on this account. Just doesn't make sense to agree on the weirdness. Morton he's been hurt all year. They could use the bye, right? They this weekend, Texas Tech could use this weekend to be getting healthy. Not playing, letting Morton. Instead, he's got to go out and try to win the Big 12 and risk re-injuring himself again. So there has to be something done. I think, who was it? I think it was John Gruden. He had like a play-in type thing on championship weekend, which was awesome. No doubt that going to I'm here in Atlanta. SEC weekend, obviously, I'm in town as well. But it's fun. But again, that takes away from the money that the city would make, the conference makes, the teams end up making. So, exactly, 100% troll. If a conference championship is gonna look, as a Georgia fan, Alabama is our kryptonite. I would care less if they made the playoff if we beat them. Big if, it's Georgia. Alabama, Kirby, that A scares him or something. I don't know. But if Alabama loses and they bump them out of the playoffs, you just penalize them for being one of the best teams in their conference. Tell me how that makes sense, Mr. Hunter. I don't think inevitably they'll fall out, because we do have to remember that he is the athletic director of Arkansas, so he's probably going to want to figure, but it just makes it weird. First 3-loss team to make the playoff, Alabama, that's going to make the country really happy. But like you just said, why penalize the team for going there and losing? Truthfully, I think BYU should be in the playoff already. If you want me to be real, BYU should be ahead of Notre Dame. And the safety line is, let's see. The safety line is probably at number 9, right? Alabama, and that's, I don't think they're a top 3 team. Do I think they're good? Yeah, Jeremiah Love is good. but I do think BYU is better. I wouldn't say they're a top 3 team. I got you. I mean, on 3, the odds to win the national championship were posted earlier, and obviously it's depending on which book you're looking at, etc. I'm a Jeremiah Love fan. I think what he's done, he should be a lot higher in the Heisman talks. Truthfully, I don't know. Let me see here. Ooh, where we at? So we got. Let me make this down. Just crazy that I don't even know how Utah. All right, so here's the odds. This is BetMGM. CJ Carr is better than Riley Leonard. I agree. He can actually throw the ball. I just don't know. I think Texas Tech, if sprinkling a little bit on plus 1,200 is interesting. I don't know how much the committee looks at this. Miami, I do not care when you play. If a team beats you, that's the way a team is decided if they're better. Miami should be ahead of Notre Dame. That doesn't mean they should be out. They can figure a way there, but I get it. It was at the end of August. But why schedule the game so early if we're not even going to factor in head-to-head? I think that's the wildest thing, which the chair ended up saying something about he can move teams that are idle just in case. Like, now the ACC is cooked in itself. They should, and I appreciate that. I respect Marcus Freeman and the team. I don't know if I would say they're a top 3 team. I think BYU should be better than them in the rankings right now. I see the odds, I hear the odds, but the fact that the Oklahoma odds make a little bit of sense. What is John Mateer? Don't know if he's not the same since his injury, or is it the fact that there is some game tape on him now? There are some schemes that have worked out now, and they can actually put a plan together to contain his legs, which ultimately forces him to throw it, and who knows what his hand is really at percentage-wise. But I think Jeremiah Love is probably a little bit disrespected in the sense of also he's 4th in the BetMGM, and every book has different stuff. Maybe that's who I had. That's how I had it yesterday on the show. I think that's what I said. It's a really close race. How about they just bypass the quarterbacks and give it to the running back? Last year was a non-quarterback year, but I did see a stat, and this is weird. This is every year that ends with 5, I think it is, since I forgot how it is. I appreciate those likes. Welcome in. Help me hit that 100 follows. I'd appreciate that. Where was I? Oh, every year that ends in 5, I saw, I don't know where it was, has been a running back that won the Heisman. Now, I don't know if that's a sign. The odds say that it's done because they should. They should factor in the fact of like playoffs. But I get it. There's some guys on here that won't make the playoffs, and that's totally cool too. But I mean, you've got the best against the best. Why not figure out who the Heisman is through the playoffs? Leading the team when it matters most. I would argue that there's probably not a team in the country who yeah. Oh, there's probably not a team in the country that has had as much success from the cause of one player as Vanderbilt and Diego. Like Julian saying, very good. He can throw the ball. He's got dogs on the outside. He's got some pretty good running backs, defense. Fernando Mendoza, they're pretty good team. But Diego, I mean, look what to be 10-2 and what he's done. This is not me saying they should be in the playoffs, but him being as high as he is on the Heisman, because when you look at the team's success caused by one individual, I don't know how you, saying gets carried. I don't see him being on. Yeah, it's I mean, Ohio State has he's got some pinpoint accuracy. I'm not gonna take that from him. He's good in that regards. But let me see here where he is. When I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he's an NFL QB, but you could say size. But then you look at Bryce Young and what he's doing. I mean, he's tiny and he's balling in the NFL right now. But yeah, he'll get drafted just because of like what he's doing with Ohio State. Now, is he a first rounder when he comes out? I don't know. He's only a freshman, I think, or redshirt sophomore, maybe. Yeah, the X Factor. That's what I'm saying. The team itself hasn't had like if you took another quarterback, and I'm not saying just some random quarterback, one of these other quarterbacks, and put them on the Ohio State roster with the players. Welcome in, Berna. On that burner. He on that burner phone. What is that? No, he's straight. Pavia has the X Factor, and it's one of those things that, like, as a Georgia fan, Jared Curtis is ridiculously good. I don't care what anybody says on the red and black side about him because he didn't sign here. He is an absolute animal and big. He's going to make an impact. He's enrolling early. I'm assuming he'll probably hang out with Diego. I'm assuming that's not a bad idea. He's going to learn the Clark Lee offense. Does he start day one? We'll see. This is the same. What worries me for Jared Curtis is exactly what happened at Colorado this year with Juju. I don't even know his last name at the moment. But he is from Carrollton here, best quarterback in the country. Bam, goes to Colorado. Handed the keys, technically. And then they went to the portal, brought in Caden Salter, and he starts. And so does Juju enter the portal when it opens in the spring? With the news coming out about Colorado being in allegedly $30 million cap, dead cap, it may be nighttime for prime time out there in Colorado, unfortunately, with the money issues. My apologies. I think that when you look at that with the Jared Curtis situation, now his offensive line, I think the offensive line for Diego, there is a 3 or 4 grad transfers. So offensive line will have to be beefed up probably. I assume with the portal. I didn't see much movement there from them. But congratulations to USC. First time in 18 years that a non-SEC team has the number 1 recruiting class. I'm assuming that hasn't changed. This is very interesting. Billy Napier is a top name to know in the JMU coaching search. He was good at, was it Louisiana? The Raging Cajuns? I think he was pretty good there. Is he going to be able to duplicate that? I don't know. I don't know. There's a chance. Probably not, though. Where are we? But it's Thursday, and there's a lot of terrible takes, a lot of terrific takes. I think that there's a good chance Indiana beats Ohio State this weekend. I think I know. Indiana is an explosive team. That's going to be, the Big Ten has a really good game this weekend. That Big Ten championship game is going to be a banger. Fireworks with Tate, Cooper, Jeremiah Smith. That's going to be a fun game. Do we have the 2 Heisman top dogs colliding in that game? Maybe. good chance that the winner of that Big Ten championship game is your Heisman winner. Now, I don't think they're supposed to factor in any of the games after the regular season, but I could be completely wrong. Um, oh, let me see. Hold up. We them boys. Hold up. We them boys. Just, you know, let me. Also, these names from Heartline. Heartline is an absolute animal. I've been saying it for a while, but like the fact that he finally took a head coaching job is probably good for the rest of the country. Like when you Amika Ibuka, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, JSN, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, though we can't forget him. That's, yeah. So USF and South Florida there's a lot of talent in South Florida. And him recruiting down there. No. Weird. I apologize. So I apologize. Welcome in. Talking about BYU, Notre Dame, Miami, while Kent State is going to get snubbed. Hey, Kent State, I also think. What about it almost makes it like terrible. It almost makes the like G5 want to have their own tournament. Not saying that I'm not saying they shouldn't get in, but like because so many of them are not going to get in, I'm trying to look for who does like Kennesaw State plays Jacksonville State this weekend, right? Hey, what's up with that? I don't know if Kent State is gonna even the names that you listed there. Do we think Kent State could beat? Do we think Kent State could beat the BYU, Notre Dame, Miami. That's a pretty tough question there. As much as I would like to say, yeah, I do not think so. But who knows? It's supposed to get handled on the field. Kind of like the Miami Notre Dame thing, but it's not. And at the end of it all, what is football? Kent State, bro. They should definitely be in. Kent State could beat anybody. Except, I'm serious. Looking at those odds of Texas Tech has a really good football team. And they'll be in plus 1,200 to win it all is pretty interesting, honestly. By BetMGM's books, plus 1,200. What kind of boost? What kind of boost are you going to get from Ole Miss? From the coaching? Do you think that Vandy has a better resume? No, Notre Dame has the better losses. So losing 42-41 in South Bend against Texas Tech. I don't know if so. Here's the problem. What lies? Because I think Vandy is a very good team. Texas beating them, and they beat Texas A&M, who beat Notre Dame at home. Like that's the. I don't know, but sorry, if Vandy would have just beat Tech. Oh no, if they would have beat Texas, they would be a lock. If they would have beat Texas, they'd probably be ranked in the top 6. That loss to Alabama would have been justified. The loss to Texas is what hurts them because Texas ended up beating A&M like they did. That's where it becomes a tough issue for. But if Vandy beat weeks ago when it was talked about, if Vandy would have, I don't care if they would have just scraped by Texas, they would be in the playoffs. But that Texas win over Texas A&M and Texas A&M going to Notre Dame, beating them, circling back, Vandy lost to Texas. So that's where it hurts. Of course, yeah, no, they wouldn't be ahead of. Who knows what happens if they beat Texas, because it changes a lot, obviously. But they would probably be in the situation of. So, yeah, they would probably be at 8. Yeah. Somewhere in that range. it would have definitely made things very interesting. We'll just say that. There's a chance that I think that the safe line going into the weekend is 9. It could be 8 because who knows what the committee's going to do. But Alabama should not be punished for going to the conference championship. And I am a Georgia fan. Let's not start that. Please, for the love of ball, don't do it. Don't penalize these teams for going to their conference championship. They're already penalized enough for having to go out and take on and be physical and play a conference championship, risk an injury, show plays that maybe they've kept away. You got teams behind them that are in their conference sitting at home, chilling, resting, getting healthy. So, don't penalize them for that if they lose. That's what they're in the conference championship. And the argument, I always say, the argument Big Ten and SEC will go on for the end of time because until we do a mixture of cross scheduling, I don't think that it's gonna change. That debate will always live on, and that's the good part. Against the North versus South, they won the last 2. 2 before that, SEC won. SEC has won the last 6 out of 10. You can find what you want in the statistics. There's a stat for everything. Everything. Only way to drop more the spot. Yeah, if it's a blowout. And there's a chance. If Georgia's defense, because they were not good. They were not good in that first matchup, first half. They were not bad. They were okay when it came to the second half. They held them scoreless. The Bulldogs held them scoreless. Appreciate those follows that helped me get to that 100 mark. I'm 3 away. We almost there. Another thing confused me about Oregon above Ole Miss and even Bama, I appreciate that. Oregon has that win over. Iowa. They have a win over Iowa, which Iowa is a physical football team. That was a messy game. It was raining, so how do you really gauge it? But Oregon they beat USC, but yeah, I'm with you. But that was the committee, and that's what I was talking about with my dude earlier. We were talking if Texas Tech were to lose to BYU or Georgia loses to Bama, both get in. But does Oregon get a bye because they're at 4? Makes things very weird because they didn't play in their conference championship. So now they're being rewarded. If I could ask the college football world to do anything, is fix this. These teams that don't make their conference championship are honestly being rewarded. And for me as a Georgia fan, I think we're in if we win or lose this weekend. Hopefully a loss doesn't drop us out of a home playoff game. But I think it's weird to penalize. To penalize a team They're playing. That's the tough part. They are playing. And that risking an injury, I say it a lot, like the challenges of a conference championship, especially a rematch. Now you've got to open up the playbook more and get a little bit more deep when you've already played the team. They kind of know identities. Identities have definitely changed since September when those two teams played, but it's still there. They've got to work and get their playing together. Welcome in. I appreciate those follows. I'm live every day, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern time. Talking sports show. Thursday is usually just a day to talk about the takes, the terrible takes, the terrific takes. I think that Oregon should not be top 5 is a terrific take. Sorry. Why should they be? I have my dude in him here a minute ago says Notre Dame is a top 3 team. I think that is a terrible take. If you think that Oregon should be top 5 and Notre Dame should be in the top 3, sorry. That's a tough take there. And what is Vandy after Pavia leaves? I know Jared Curtis is a very good athlete, but Pavia is a good ball player. People don't like him because of the gimmick of confidence or cockiness, but what he does on the field doesn't really. You can love it, you can hate it, but he's balling out there. Probably with less talent than Ohio State. Maybe less talent than Indiana. Pavia's got a couple receivers and that tight end that are very good and a veteran offensive line. But when you talk about like playmaker, Pavia's that guy. I would be surprised. I think I would sprinkle a little bit on Pavia. I think he's at plus 170, plus 180 on the Heisman odds. So, but that's going to be a wrap. If you found yourself here, good vibes. I appreciate you. This is Beyond the Finish Line Sports Talk Show, live every day, 11 a.m., 12 p.m. Eastern Time. If you have a take, a terrible take, a tough take, a terrific take, give me a call. Rise up. Go Dogs. We got a big weekend for the Dogs. Falcons saw somewhere they say they're still in the playoff hunt. Okay. But if you have a take like that on NFL, college football, give the couch coach call a ring. 404-590-3224. Leave a message. I'll air it on the show. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.